is there's a very important principle in Torah study. I know we have a lot of serious, devoted Torah students that are listening. And those that have experience in Torah study know that there's a principle which is that you never can, I think the word in English is extrapolate, you never can interpret a verse to the extent that it loses its simple interpretation. In other words, there are many, many levels of Torah study. Everybody knows that there's pardes, pshat, remez, drosh, sod, that's the orchard, right? It means there's the simple interpretation, there's illusion, there's exposition, and there's the secret level, right? And then, of course, there's an idea that there are 70 levels of meaning of every word of Torah. So when we study, we know that there are so many different levels of interpretation, and they're all true at the same time. And they have symbolic, levels of meaning, and ethical and moral, all sorts of things. And then there's also the simple idea of what we're reading, and that is like a golden rule. It's like a cornerstone of Torah study. Don't take a verse and so fetch it out and twist it, so that it no longer bears any resemblance to its original meaning, except that there is an exception to that rule. And the exception to that rule really is Bereshit, is this Torah portion.
My goodness.
Because, and this is the mistake that so many people make in trying to, they look at the Genesis narrative as a Bible story, and then those that have faith, take that and they say, well, this is what happened. But they're hard pressed to understand things like the creation of Adam and Eve, and the snake and the tree of knowledge, and what it was all about, and so many things happen in this week's Torah portion. By the time that we get to the 10th generation and the slaying of Abel and the total disappointment that Hashem has by the end, what does any of this mean? So the idea is, the great Ramban, Nachmanides, he puts it very beautifully. He says when it comes to the secrets of Genesis, he says these are concepts that, whether or not they have a physical or a material representation in this world, it's hard to say that they don't, but whether or not they do is not even the point. They also stand for spiritual concepts.
Right.
And so, people are just absolutely bent out of shape on the one hand, and there's other people who come up with the most ridiculous self-aggrandizing scenarios of what they think all of this means, whereas the true Jewish Torah approach to understanding what this first Torah portion, Genesis 1, is all about, is that it is basically the saga of Hashem's desire, as it were, to bestow goodness upon man, which is why he created the world in the first place. And everything else is commentary, in that everything else is the story of man being put in an environment where he constantly has to exercise free will.